I'm finishing up this book, which is Art of Dying Well. I think it's one of those books that literally everyone needs to read it. And by everyone, I mean everyone, every single human being. And the reason why, because as it says, it's practical guide to dying well. Dying is one of those topics that literally everyone avoids because it's uncomfortable to talk about it, and it kind of distorts our view, or at least our secret wish that we will be here forever. You might say, no, I know, I understand that I will die one day, but usually we still don't think about it. We still say that, oh, there's always tomorrow, there's always the next day, there's always so many more things to do and so on. And yes, very often there is next day. But at one point in your life, there is no more next day, there's no more next hour, there's no tomorrow. It might feel ironic that I'm talking about this book that talks about death in park on Saturday where there are loads of people around. But there's a reason why for that. Being practical guide about dying, it literally talks about how to prepare yourself mentally, how to prepare others, how to make sure that your death goes as painlessly as possible, because realistically, nobody wants to die in pain, but a lot of people do. And that's part of the problem that we have at the moment, and the reason being that we don't talk about death. Everyone avoids it until it's last minute, and then, oh, suddenly you go to ER, you try to resuscitate people that maybe don't want to be resuscitated, and all of that very, very unpleasant stuff. When you die, you should literally piss yourself and shit yourself, and nobody wants to admit that they will do that, but unfortunately that's the reality. That's just biological functions giving up. I feel that while it was a very uncomfortable topic to read through, in general, reading it daily, basically before sleep and when I woke up, it was kind of interesting experience when you just greet and say goodbye to a day, just reading and talking about death. But it's important because, do you know what palliative care is? I didn't. Well, apparently it's type of care just before death, essentially. Palliative care is comfort care when death is inevitable, but pain can be actually managed and pain can be reduced. This is a type of medical care that tries to prevent pain, or at least reduce to the amounts that you could actually enjoy those last days, last weeks, maybe even last months of your life. Because usually dying is a very painful experience. What else is in this guide besides teaching you what palliative care is? Essentially, this guide contains stuff how to prepare yourself mentally in second part of your life, in sunset, and also at a time when there are maybe hours left. Ideally, if your brain still functions, you can make decisions for yourself. But very often, people get dementia, especially from old age. It's just natural. So others have to care for you. For that reason, usually there are PO-LST and MO-LST, essentially do not resuscitate orders, but they vary in different ways and can specify what type of stuff you want and what stuff you don't. Obviously, I have to say that the writer is from the US, so she's talking about US healthcare system, but I'm pretty sure every country in Europe has some sort of variation of that. For example, Switzerland recently approved kind of like euthanasia rooms, chambers. If you have seen mine, you can euthanize yourself without actually any pain, which is, I think, kind of humane way to go, because if you know that your next 2 days will be in excruciating pain and you will die anyway, might as well skip the actual struggle. It might be easier for you and for your loved ones. It's kind of a weird book, but I think it's very, very important to talk about this stuff, because there's never a good time. It's always uncomfortable conversation, but you might as well just rip the bandage and just talk with your family about it. It might be easier, especially at that time when something really unfortunate happens, or maybe when you're meeting your time and everyone knows what to do and knows how to act to prevent pain for you and your loved ones. And in general, you might want or not want certain things. Better to decide on them now than let others, for example nurses or doctors, make decisions. Because of their Hippocrates oath, they often have to do whatever they can to prolong the life. But longer life doesn't necessarily mean quality life, so think about it. That's why I think that really everyone should read the book, or at least think about inevitable and maybe talk to your family. It might be useful. Not necessarily now, but maybe 40 years down the line, it might be useful. So in short, even though it was kind of uncomfortable, I'm still really glad that I read the book. Ideally, I would love to have a shorter version of it, just almost like a list of things how to do and how to prepare, especially here in Europe. But hey, we kind of have it all, so we have to use whatever tools we have. Super random, but there were a couple people there, maybe 5 meters from me, that just came and sat, and they were listening while I was filming this and talking about death. They went away, so that just proves that the topic of the death just scares people.